Hey everyone, today we are going to take cuttings from the coleus to propagate more. Basically, they are very simple and easy to propagate. They can even propagate in water if you want to do it that way. I just don't prefer the water method just because the root system, when you pull it out of the water and transplant it into soil, the root system is so tender that you'll break it easily when you have to push it into the soil. So that's why I just started right from soil. I don't worry about the whole water system, but you can propagate coleus in water, directly into water. So that being said, the medium that I use can withhold more water than a lot of other plants. Other plants, if the medium holds too much water, it will create a root rot. But with coleus, that's not going to be the case since technically you can root it in water. Basically what I'm going to do when I look at a coleus, the way I take a cutting is I go in and I cut it right below a node. So here would be a node where a new shoot is coming from. The node is usually where the the stem will be. That's where a node is going to be. Now if you want your plant to keep growing big just like this guy here, then you can just let it keep growing. But if you want it to be more bushy, you can come in and you cut it right at a node. And then from where a node is, like here, if you cut it right here, see how there's two other stems that comes from that plant? So instead of just one stem, you're going to create two stems. So I'm going to go in and I am going to cut it right here, right between the node, just like that. Sorry, I only have one hand, so it falls really easily. So right here, like right underneath the node, and that's what you have to do. Here comes the second one. This one, I'm gonna go in and cut it right here in between these nodes so that new shoots will come out. This is a new shoot that's coming out already. So I'm gonna go in, cut it right there. And then I have this whole thing I can use to propagate. I can also go in here and see this long stem right here. Just gonna go in and cut it right along here. And then I can use this to root. Sorry, it's about to rainstorm here. And then here's another coleus that's really pretty. Look at this beautiful color. And what I'm gonna do is here at the node, I'm gonna cut it here, right there. So go in with the pruning shears, snip it right off, and then I'm going to use this piece to root. And go into here, do the same thing over here, cut this piece to root. So basically I cut it back, but you see where I cut above a node here? It's going to send out two new sets of leaves. Two new stems that will actually make it bulkier, so then you'll have an abundance, kind of like how this looks. So I can come in here, cut this one as well, and then if I come over here, this is a different variety of coleus which I have already taken the cutting from. You can see the node right here callousing up. I took a node here as well, and here. So now it's pushing out all of these new growth. But look at how beautiful that is. Isn't that a beautiful coleus? So one more time, come in here, right here where these nodes are, between these two nodes, I'm going to cut in between so that new growth can grow between this stem, and then I can root this section. So I'm going to go in and cut it right there. And let's get started. Alright everybody, I started the propagation already, so I thought I'll show you really quickly and then show you the result, which I've already done. Basically what you do is You can make arrangements out of all your coleus. Aren't they beautiful? So what I do is I just take one, let's pick this one for instance, where you cut it is here. It needs to be below a node because the node is where the roots are going to grow. So what I'm going to do is strip it from there. And since I'm placing it in this pot, it's a little bit deeper, so I'm going to go up 2 nodes. Over here, I only did 1 node because it's so shallow. It'll take root from 1 node, which is just this one right here. Or if your pot is long, you can do 2 nodes. 2 nodes will give it a little bit more roots. When you transplant it, it won't be in such a shock. I'll remove the big leaves. You can see these are the big leaves. I will come in and gently remove them. And leave the small little shoots on the side. Those are where the nodes are. That's why you get new shoots. So this one, because it has quite a bit of length to it, I'm going to just remove these lower leaves. So it's going to look like this. But since I have it in a big pot, I'm going to remove this one as well. And this one. So now I have 2 nodes where it can root from. Then I'm just going to bring it over here. Stick it into the soil gently and just give it a little tap. Let's do another example right here. This is the lime-time coleus. Just remove the first node right there. Second node is right here. I'll strip everything. And then from then I will just strip this big leaves on the outside. Making sure I get them all, being gentle not to rip off these little nodes because you want them to remain. And then just stick them in. Now if you have a divot, it would be a lot easier, but the soil is pretty moist, so I don't need to really worry that it won't come in. Now here's a big one. If you strip this one, you can use this one as well as a rooting, as a cutting. Also over here, this one you can use this as a cutting, but for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to show you really quickly. I'm going to strip all of those there, take the outer leaves, leave the little shoots that are coming out, and you will end up with something like this. And then just stick it in and let it do its thing. One last one. Isn't this a beautiful color? So this one seems to have a longer stem, so I'm going to just do 1 node. Remove all of those shoots. You have this, and we're going to just stick her in. Same thing with the rest of them. Just keep on doing it. I had a whole bunch that I went through, so I didn't want to bore you with it. Just want to do a couple samples so that way you can see how easy it is to propagate your own coleus. Just need to go to the store, buy one, and then make your own. And then after that, every year you do need to winterize them on the inside. They are annual, so they will die off. They are not hardy at all. Even to zone 8, which I was in, but now I am in zone 7B. Quickly, here you go. Beautiful little cutting. Stick it in. And then probably give it about 2 weeks. I generally will mist it down, but the soil is already moist, but I'll mist it a little bit, just to give it a little bit more water. Just remember, coleus, you can also root it in water as well. I don't like to do it in water because when you transplant it, the root is so fragile that it'll generally break off and it'll be harder and it'll stress the plant out a little bit more, which is why I like to do it in soil. Then I just go in, break up, tease the roots, and then I plant them. That is it, you guys. Very simple, very easy. And look at all the plants you will create. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.